Hello, all. Hope you're doing well today. Today we are beginning our conversation in chapter 11 where we're talking about alcohol management. This is part 1, and we're talking primarily about alcohol sales and forecasting. Now, our objectives here are in this chapter are really to understand how to conduct beverage sales forecasting as well as to comprehend the revenue issues of alcohol management. So here we go. The decision to sell alcoholic beverages in sports venues is a complex one. It requires venue and event managers to carefully consider a range of factors from purchasing and receiving inventory to serving and forecasting demand. Beyond logistics, managers must also anticipate and mitigate risks associated with alcohol consumption by patrons. This includes ensuring responsible service, enforcing local legal regulations, and promoting fan safety. Understanding these factors is essential for effective beverage management. A well-planned approach leads to a safer and more successful operation of alcohol sales in sports venues. Sales forecasting is a crucial part of beverage management in sports venues. It involves predicting the number of guests who will be served over a specific period and estimating the revenue generated, such as this last weekend with spring break. You can obviously expect to see an increase in alcohol sales, especially in a young crowd. One key factor in forecasting is distinguishing between sales revenue and sales volume. Revenue reflects total earnings, while volume measures the number of units sold. The accuracy of beverage sales forecast depends on the type of drinks sold. Beer, wine, and spirits each have different pricing and consumption trends that impact overall sales projections. Effective forecasting helps managers optimize their inventory, maximize the profits, and enhance the guest experience, ensuring a well-run and profitable beverage operation. Some key components of sales forecasting are understanding your sales history. Your past sales trends provide a foundation for future projections. Volume or revenue. Forecasts can be based on units sold, which is your volume, or total sales, your revenue, and sales averages. So calculating averages over a period helps smooth out any fluctuations. Now, there are different types of forecasting. The fixed forecasting examines a specific time frame. For example, the Q1 sales each year. And then rolling forecasting uses a continuously updated time frame, meaning it's always looking 12 months ahead. Effective sales forecasting is essential for managing beverage sales in sports venues. It requires analyzing sales history to predict future revenue and optimize operations. Sales history should be kept for a minimum of 2 years. This data helps identify trends and inform strategic decisions. If a venue is just starting to sell beverages, building and maintaining a sales history is even more crucial for long-term success. Managers use sales averages to guide decisions. A fixed average examines data over a specific time frame, while a rolling average adapts to changes over time. The sales variance tracks fluctuations over time by identifying whether sales are increasing, decreasing, or plateauing. Managers can adjust inventory pricing and promotions to maximize profits. By understanding these key elements, sports venue managers can improve sales forecasting, enhance guest experience, and drive profitability. And operating concessions, particularly concessions with alcoholic beverages, being able to accurately ascertain future sales supports a profitable operation. The percentage variance is used in predicting future sales. Depending on the objectives for offering beverages in the venue, management may decide whether forecasting is based on sales or volume. The percentage variance can be applied for either calculation. The method is the same, and you can see here Southampton Arena, you've got your sales history for the first quarter. Now, the months are there on the left-hand side. So January, February, March are your first quarter. The sales this year, we'll just say 2025. In January, you had 35,000 sold sales, as well as 27.5 in February and 36,000 in March, for a total of 98.5 for the first quarter. Now, last year, you can see it was a little bit less in January, about $1,000, about $2,500 in February, and $5,000 in March. So you're doing pretty well. Your projections are good. Now, the variance, if you look at January alone for this year and last year, there's about $1,000 difference, and that works out to be about a 2.94% variance, versus in February, where it was about 10% and then 16% in March. So the average works out to be about 9.44%. We'll talk about that in this next slide. So Southampton Arena knows their first quarter sales, but want to forecast their second quarter sales. And so with that, the percentage variance during that quarter ranged from 2.94% in January to 16.12% in March. The manager at Southampton Arena decides to use the first quarter percentage variance of 9.44%, as it's neither too conservative nor aggressive. And so they've taken their projections or their sales from last year in April, May, and June, and they've taken that increase, that estimate, that 9.44 percentage variance, and added it into that the sales from last year, and you can see what the revenue forecast would be. So for April, they had 42,500 sales last year, and we're taking that 9.44%. So we're projecting that to be an increase of about $4,012, or for a revenue forecast for April of 46,512. And if we do that for each month, and then for the second quarter total, your revenue looks like $125,308 for the second quarter. In beverage sales forecasting, understanding the sales mix is crucial. The sales mix refers to the variety of products available for purchase and the contribution to overall sales. Key factors influence the sales mix include sales forecast, so estimating demand for each beverage type, the availability, ensuring a consistent supply of popular products. You know, right now we're in this trades war with Canada and Mexico, and so things that are generated there are tequila and Canadian whiskey, among other products. And so we could probably look to see that those items will not be nearly as available and will be at a higher price. So the cost is managing your pricing strategies based on product margins. And then shelf life. You have to consider perishability, especially for draft beer or fresh ingredients and cocktails. And then packaging, determining whether bottled, canned, or draft beverages are more cost-effective and preferred by your customers. By monitoring the sales mix, managers can adjust inventory, pricing, and marketing strategies to maximize their profits and meet customer preferences. Beverage cost percentage is an essential metric in managing beverage sales profitability. You can see the formula here. The cost of beverages sold divided by the total beverage sales equals your beverage cost percentage. Now, with that, if a bar sells $10,000 worth of beverages and the cost of the beverages sold is $2,300, the beverage cost percentage is roughly 23%. The industry averages for bottled beer is about 23 to 25%, draft beer 20 to 22%. Now, there are factors that are associated with the beverage cost percentage. Some of that is your employee inefficiency, overpouring, or excessive serving sizes. And then waste, expired products or excessive spillage. And then theft, unauthorized consumption or fraud. It happens, people. And then packaging selection. So different packaging types, bottles versus kegs, impact costs as well. Selecting the right beverages for a venue involves multiple factors to ensure profitability and customer satisfaction. Some key considerations are the sales mix, so the type and proportions of beverages sold, as well as the desired beverage cost percentage, so maintaining profitability within industry standards. And vendors, sourcing quality products at competitive prices. Customer preferences, understanding what your customers want to maximize sales. So best practices for inventory management are, of course, having a dedicated buyer. A responsible person should handle purchasing decisions to maintain consistency and cost control. And then having a checks and balances system. Implement procedures to prevent theft and ensure accurate inventory tracking. As far as beer service containers, we have bottles and cans. They tend to have longer shelf life with less risk of product spoilage or waste. Now, they also help with faster service speed, and because they're easier for staff to serve and reduce wait times. Draft beer, there's a higher profit margin because there's a lower cost per serving compared to the bottled or canned beer. Of course, recycling considerations, it requires proper handling of kegs, cups, and waste management as well. Best practices for beverage order acceptance, set acceptance hours. So schedule deliveries to avoid interfering with your peak operational hours. And then separation of duties. The person receiving the order should not be the same person who placed it. And verification process. The receiving employee should check the delivery against the purchase order request, verifying both quantity and price. And then again, having a checks and balances. So a third party or department should handle invoice payments to prevent fraud and theft. As far as storing alcohol, it's typically FIFO, which is an antonym for first in and first out. Always use older stock first to maintain freshness and prevent spoilage. And then dry storage for beer. You want to store bottled and canned beer in a cold, dark room at 50 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit to maintain quality. And you also want to use refrigeration storage for kegs, keeping keg beer at 36 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit to ensure proper carbonation and freshness. And security measures. Always store, all your storage areas should be well secured to prevent theft and unauthorized access. So in our discussion today, hopefully you gained some valuable insights into beverage sales forecasting and the revenue considerations that come with effective alcohol management. Now, one key concept we did not talk about was outsourcing your alcohol concessions. And that is something that is something to be considered. There's a lot of management that goes along with alcohol management that sometimes it might be better to outsource. But understanding these concepts and tools to optimize sales while ensuring responsible alcohol service, leading to a safer and more profitable event or venue management experience. Now, that concludes our session for today. In our next session, we will go into more of the risk management associated with alcohol and what are the best practices for that. So I look forward to talking with you again. Have a great day.